Do we have a microphone for Rick Morgan? Thank you.
Just start with my usual. What do you see out of USC's defense? And besides Barkley and Woods and Lee, what do they have on offense?
Defensively, very athletic, very active on the defensive line. Got three really good linebackers in Dawson, Bailey, and Flard. And got a great safety. You know, they really anchored down the secondary. TJ McDonald, probably one of the top corners around, and Mikel Roby. So a lot of talent on that side of the ball. And then obviously you know about Barkley and Lee and Woods, but Silas Red, you know, the addition that they have at running back, very physical on the offensive line. Got a couple tight ends in Telfer and Rimble. But you know, there's a good player at each position at USC.
Jason.
Yeah, last year obviously Barkley, Lee, Woods had good games here. But what was kind of lost was I think Curtis McNeil had a pretty good game too, running the ball. What do you see out of USC's run game this year, and how important is it to stop their run game?
It's important to stop everything. I mean, you just can't. You know, they're not a team that's built to just do one thing. I mean, they've got a great approach in terms of how they run the ball, and I think with the addition of Silas Red, they've added a real quality running back. You know, it sounded like they had some depth problems, but that and him and put him with McNeil, DJ Morgan. I think you got three pretty good guys back there. So you know, you got to defend everything. You can't put all your eggs in one basket and say, hey, we're going to stop just the passing game. You know, you got to be able to stop them in every aspect that they're trying to do.
Are they running as efficiently as last year? Are they running the ball as well?
They haven't missed too many beats. You know.
Rob,
you mentioned that their linebackers obviously an athletic young group that you went against last year. They do bring McDonald down. It seems like. I wonder how you feel like the way your line matches up with them. Particularly, you got some athletic young tackles of your own now in Johnstone and Fisher. How you feel like they might impact that matchup? I mean, guys who can move their feet pretty well at your tackle spots.
That's why we're playing. We'll see. I'm not a prediction guy, or I'm going to say anything. But you know, I think this matches up and that matches up. We'll see. I haven't seen those guys in person, but you know, they're doing the same things defensively they've done for a while since Monty's been there. It's a very sound scheme. You know, TJ was down a lot last year against us. That part hasn't changed. That's part of one of their base tenets, and they're going to try to stop the run. And obviously, they do a really good job of it.
So fair to say you got a more athletic set of tackles this year as you go into the matchup?
Who were tackles last year? Weems and
Asper.
Oh, yeah.
Kobe.
The same.
Dirk.
Coach, how important is their play action pass game to what they want to do on offense?
Everything's important. There's not one that's different. You know, you got to stop their play action pass. Got to stop their quick game. Got to stop their screen game. Got to stop their drop back game. I know it's a diverse offense. So there's not one thing where you know, I think Lane does such a good job of making sure that you have to defend the entire field and defend the entire package. They run a lot of plays. They run a lot of formations. There's a lot of motions. There's a lot of shifts. They do a lot of things to try to confuse you at the snap. So there's not one aspect we can say, hey, let's not worry about this. They do everything really well, and they've got great personnel to start, but they also got pretty good speed for that personnel to execute.
Along the same lines a little bit, the fact that your quarterbacks have much more experience than they had last year, how much do you think that's going to help them this time around?
Again, I'm not in predictions, but we'll see. You know, if we do a good job defensively, then yeah, the experience helped. But if they go out and put 38 on the board on us, then the experience didn't help. So.
Patrick, I'm going to the phones. Questions for Coach Kelly, those waiting on the telephone. If you have questions, please press *1 on your telephone keypad.
Our first question comes from Eric Woodard from Flint Journal.
How you doing, Coach Kelly? Flint, Michigan, I was doing a little research on you, and I was saying that you was actually born in Flint, Michigan. Is that true?
Nope. I've never been to Flint, Michigan. We got one of our interns, Todd Light's a Flint, Michigan guy.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know where we got the research from. I was just calling to see if that was consistent, if you had any ties to the city of Flint, because I don't know where people got that from on the internet.
We got Todd Light on our staff. He's a great player, played at Notre Dame.
Next question, Patrick.
Next question is from Will Wallace, Daily Trojan.
Hey, Coach Kelly. As you know, Anthony was committed to USC before he committed to you guys. What do you think you and your staff were able to do to convince him to come to UG? What was his recruitment like?
You know, just he contacted us in the last week of the recruiting process, and he came in here for the last weekend for a visit. And you know, like every recruit we have, we just kind of show him what our school's about and what we have to offer, and then he made the decision to come here. You know, I don't think it was any great. You know, it was more of him making a decision on what he thought was best for him than anything else.
Any more questions, Patrick? Please press star 1.
There are no audio questions at this time.
Okay, we'll go back to questions from here. Please raise your hand, Rick Morgan.
Just from the historic aspect of the LA Coliseum, I mean, I know that you're an in-moment kind of guy, but does that mean anything to you, the legacy of being in that venue where all the Olympics and all those things came about? Does that provide any excitement to you?
It's cool. I like going to new stadiums. I mean, I love going to Tennessee, love playing, you know, in the Rose Bowl. There's been certain places. It was fun in 2007 when we went out to Michigan. I've always enjoyed Washington Husky Stadium. But, you know, once you kick it off, you're not thinking about who's been there before you or any of that stuff. So.
Molly.
Away from football, you've been keeping track of the Superstorm Sandy and if any of your East Coast family, everybody's all right?
They're all right. I talked to them this morning. They lost power for a little bit, but they're okay. They didn't get, you know, I think it hit New Jersey and New York a little bit harder than it did New England, so they're good.
Rob?
The makeup of their defense, mainly a linebacker, I think is a guy who's played some safety. Their 2 tackles go about 270. You know, they're not big 300-pound tackles. Have they changed personnel-wise? I mean, are they constructed differently personnel-wise than they have been in years past?
I don't know. I think that's what Monty's always kind of played with in his system. So I think they're recruiting his system is different than what Pete was doing. I think Pete's guys were a little bit bigger.
Warren.
Chip, another big road game, another big environment, probably arguably the biggest environment as far as the stadium size. How's Marcus handling that? And his first visit to Los Angeles is still the same, cool breeze?
We haven't been there yet, so I can't answer the questions. I don't know how he's handled it.
In preparation, though, going there.
I mean, we're in the Machowski Center, so it's not very close in preparation to the big environment and all those other things. We do the same things we do every Monday and every Tuesday, so how he handles LA, I don't know. We haven't been to LA.
Steve.
Coach, you get the sense that you have a lot of players that are from Southern California, but you get the sense that the players on the roster, are they looking at this game as being something special? And if so, do you do anything to keep their emotions get too high or too low?
I get the sense with this group, to be honest with you, that every game is really special. You know, and that's the great thing about them. Just because you're from somewhere doesn't shouldn't give an indication. You know, you get a chance to play a nationally ranked team at their place. You know, that's enough. Whether we were going to go play somewhere on the East Coast or somewhere on the West Coast, I think that's the important factor in what we're dealing with. So that's the great thing about this team. I think it's a real consistent team. So.
Eric.
It definitely seems like they're all treating this exactly the same. We've talked about that a lot. But
does that bother you?
Well, a little bit. But
how do you get them? I'm excited about them treating it everything the same. So.
How do you get them to buy in so quickly? I mean, some of these kids come in there at 18, 19 years old, and when you're in high school, you look at rankings, you look at standings, you look at all that. How do you get them to buy in so quickly?
I think it's really simple. I mean, every game counts. The playoffs started in college football on the first game of the season, and when you lose, you're done. I mean, look who tumbles and goes. I mean, that's not hard for our guys to figure that part out. And if you want to, you know, have a vision of what you want to get done and what you want to get accomplished, then you better take each game like it's a Super Bowl. So, I mean, to us, it's a real simple formula. I don't understand why people look at it differently. You know, no matter who you are, you know, Florida lost, they bounced out. You know, they lost to a one-loss Georgia team who bounced out. All those one-loss teams are hoping the undefeated teams lose so they can bounce back in. But once you lose, you take it out of your own hands. So, I mean, I think it's a very, very, very simple formula. So that's not very difficult. I think we got kids that are intelligent enough to understand that. If you lose, you're in someone else's hands. If you can take care of business and pick your head up in December and you've taken care of business, then probably good things are going to happen to you. So.
Rick?